Hello and welcome to the 7th in this series of Django screencasts called Django from the Ground Up. In this episode, we're going to be adding an archive view and also creating an inclusion tag for an individual event. Now remember, all of this source code is completely freely available, and actually the website is completely up and running. If you go to startthedark.com, you can use the site, and if you go to the bottom, click on open source, you'll see that the link to the GitHub project is available, as well as a link to an issue tracker, as well as any news will be posted here as well. Now, the first thing we want to do today is add a new view it's going to be called Archive. So basically, tonight is going to be pretty much identical to Archive for now. They're going to diverge because I've got different ideas of where I want them to go. But for now, we're just going to do a copy and paste. And I'm going to call this Archive. And we're not going to filter it by today. We're going to filter everything. So we're going to change a few things. Like you saw, I changed the name and I changed the events. And now we're going to change the template that is rendered. And then finally, we're going to create that template. I'm going to just copy this, and we're going to create a new thing called archive.html, and we'll paste that in here. I'm going to change this up here to be archive. I mean, this is all pretty simple stuff. I mean, straightforward at least. I'm going a little fast, I know, but it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Now, I could have screwed something up, and I wouldn't put it past me to have screwed something up. So, let's test this out and see whether I did. So, we are going to go to our site, and we're actually going to, I'm going to add at least something to say, actually, we're going to go into the base.html, and we're going to start creating a little bit of a nav bar. So, we'll say UL, and we'll say li ahref equals URL, and we'll say ev tonight, and we'll say tonight, and we'll end that. Li ahref equals URL ev archive. So now we will be able to navigate between the tonight view and, crossing our fingers, the archive view, which, yeah, it looks like we've actually got some slightly older things coming in as well, which is exactly what we want. Now, one of the things that I'm starting to notice here is that there's a lot of duplication of code in terms of in the templates and in the views here. There's just lots of duplication of code. And I don't really want to do that. Ideally, I want to have basically one template tag I can call for each time I have an event object, and it will take care of things for me. So let's do that right now. What I want to do is I'm going to stop the server for now. We're going to go into the events. I'm going to make a directory called template tags. I'm going to touch init.py. I'm actually going to I'm going to give it one line so that Git can pick up on that. And then we're actually going to do, let's see, we are going to add another file called event-tags.py. Now we can go in and edit that file. The very first step for any template tags files, you have to do from Django import template, and then you have to do register equals template.library. You just always have to do that so that you can get access to the template library registry and access to all the template functions. So let's write our inclusion tag, which is going to take in context. So it's going to take in any context that already exists in that template from where it's called. It's going to take in an event. I'll just call it E, and that's actually it for now. So Now I'm going to start building up a list of things I'm going to include into the template, and I'm going to call that toReturn because it's what we actually eventually want to return. I'm going to start with the event, and that's going to be E. Request will be contexts, like whatever request is in the context, and that'll be it for now. Now, if the user is authenticated, so we know that the user's in the context because we called all the context processors, we're going to do the thing that should look fairly familiar by now from views. We're going to say try attendance.objects.get, only now this actually is called E. I made a typo before and I decided I'm just going to go with it. And I'll say attending equals true. If it doesn't get there, attendance dot does not exist, we'll say attending equals false. Then we can update the actual toReturn dictionary with some new information, with like attending to be attending, which is either true or false, whether it found it, and authenticated being true in this case. Otherwise, if we weren't authenticated, we're just going to say toReturn authenticated equals false. Then we're just going to return that. So basically, we're taking in context and an event, and we're returning a dictionary. So what does that do? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, really, does it? Well, it will. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do register inclusion tag, and we're going to render the template events event.html. And we're going to make sure that that takes context. And then, so this all right here creates a function that we can then call on our event function. So it's a little bit convoluted, but if you just kind of stare at it for a while, you'll eventually figure it out. Or maybe you just already get it because maybe it's not that convoluted. I don't know. Anyway, so we're taking care of the attendance in here, so we can get rid of attendance completely from here. Let's just get rid of this attending stuff. We're going to get rid of the zipped. We're just going to actually put the events in there. And we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to get rid of attending. We're going to get rid of the zip because we just don't care about that anymore. Now we're going to go into, we're going to create a new template called event, because we already talked about that. We already referenced that. We're going to go into events, and we'll touch event.html. Now, if we go back into our text editor, we will see that what we can do is start writing a template. And what we have available to us, what we have available to us is event, request, attending, and authenticated. So that's pretty much all we need. If we look at our tonight, we have event, attending, and we don't even really deal with authentication yet. I know we will, though. And the request as well. Right now, we don't deal with that, but I believe we will. Actually, I'm not really sure why I included that. Well, we'll see if we need it. So, let's do this. Let's just plain old copy this. I haven't done a huge proofread on it, so I don't know. Okay, so we've got attending, and we've got event, and that's it for now. So, how do we access that from our template? I mean, if we've removed it from here, we're going to have to somehow get back at it. First of all, we don't need this anymore. So that's that. And then we can just say, first we have to load our tags. We'll say load, and then we'll say events tags. And since this is called events tags.py, it will load that up for us. And now we'll have actual tag called event that we can call. So we'll call event, and then we will call, I believe, what is this, what did I say that this would take in? I said it would take in event. So it's a little confusing, but the function is called event, and then we're taking in, here, let's just call this E so that it's more clear. So there we go. Event E. And that should call this template with the variables specified here. And now is the moment of truth here again today. We seem to have lots of... Oh, you know what? Let's actually, while we're here, we refactored tonight. Let's refactor archive, which is going to be oh so hard since we had so different things. There we go. And look, we've gotten rid of so much code just by extracting this event out into its own library. So let's go and try this. Make sure we're in the right directory. And if we reload the page, okay, invalid block tag event. Oh, and I know exactly why that is, because in the archive, we didn't do what we did in tonight, which is load events tags. Can't use a template tag until you've loaded it. So hopefully that was the only bug. Nope, that was not the only bug. There is no request because we don't have request middleware. You know what? Let's just get rid of that for now. I will want it back later, but for now, we're just going to get rid of it. And wow, I seem to really have screwed up here. It turns out I need to go from events, .models, import attendance. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were more bugs. Okay, global name request is not defined. Request, let's see. Ah, that's why I needed it. I needed the request because I needed, no. Let's just do a little, what did I have here? I had request. Let me see here. What could possibly be the problem? Oh, well, yeah. We don't have the request, so we have a better way. We got the context. Duh. Okay, and we'll try this again. See, this is good debugging stuff here. Look, it looks like we've got this to work. So remember now, we get redirected to the Tonight page every time we do that. So if we go back to the archive and we click unattend, we get redirected back to the Tonight page. So it looks like we got this all up and running, and despite the few glitches that we had, we were able to solve the problem quite easily. So I think that I've demonstrated that inclusion tags can be very powerful and can actually save you lots of code. I mean, just look at how much code we were able to remove from here. I will be back very soon with another screencast, so stay tuned.